The locked door. The Thompsons thought they had found their dream home. A sprawling colonial-style house on a quiet street, with manicured lawns and friendly neighbors. It was perfect, almost too perfect. As the realtor, Ms. Adler, led them through the house, she casually pointed out a door in the upstairs hallway. And this, she said, tapping the smooth wooden surface, is the door that never opens. Mr. Thompson laughed. What do you mean? Is it stuck? No, Ms. Adler replied, her tone even. It's just never opened. Don't worry. It's nothing to be concerned about. The house passed all inspections. Mrs. Thompson and their son, Jake, exchanged uneasy glances. What's behind it? Mrs. Thompson asked. Honestly, no one knows, Ms. Adler said with a tight smile. But the house has such charm, don't you think? Despite the oddity, they bought the house. The first night, the Thompsons unpacked late into the evening, exhausted but happy. As they settled in, the house creaked and groaned like any old structure. They told themselves it was normal. Around midnight, Jake woke his parents, his voice trembling. I heard someone knocking. Knocking? From where? Mr. Thompson asked, groggy. From that door, Jake whispered. They all stood in the hallway, staring at the door. It was silent now. Mr. Thompson tried the knob, but it wouldn't budge. The door felt ice cold beneath his hand. It's probably nothing, he said, more to himself than anyone else. Old houses make weird noises. But the knocking returned the next night. The scratches. Within a week, the noises had escalated. Faint scratching sounds, like fingernails on wood, echoed from behind the door at odd hours. Sometimes it sounded like whispers, soft and unintelligible. Mrs. Thompson insisted they call a locksmith. But when the man arrived, his tools broke as he tried to pick the lock. I've never seen anything like this, he muttered before leaving, clearly spooked. That night, Jake ran into their bedroom, tears streaming down his face. It's talking to me, he sobbed. It knows my name. Mr. Thompson stormed into the hallway, his patience gone. He pounded on the door. Who's in there? He shouted. The house responded with silence, thick and oppressive. The smell. A foul stench began to seep from the cracks around the door, a mix of rotting meat and something metallic. No amount of air freshener could mask it. Desperate, the family decided to move out. They packed in a frenzy, ignoring the whispers and knocking that grew louder as they worked. But when they tried to leave, the front door wouldn't open. Neither would the windows. They were trapped. The final night, the sounds from the door grew unbearable, knocking, scratching, pounding, and now screams. The Thompsons huddled together in the living room, too terrified to move. Then, as the clock struck midnight, the door upstairs creaked open. They didn't go to look, but they heard the slow, deliberate footsteps descending the stairs. The family was found days later by a neighbor, their faces frozen in expressions of pure terror. The house was empty except for one new detail. The door in the hallway was shut, tight once again, and no one could open it. When Ms. Adler put the house back on the market, she made sure to mention its unique charm.